So 5 element.
Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth, Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino, and in traditional fashion, school will start in a couple of days, but school is definitely in session. Over to my right here, this is like standing room only. First day drop-off with the children for school, but another gorgeous morning trackside, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a long day, not quite as long as tomorrow, but it's a beauty.
Yeah, I was buzzing around over on the Oklahoma side trying to get some interviews. We'll plug those in tomorrow with the Travers trainers, and it's very busy all around. I was slowing up for horses crossing and whatnot. Busy over here, busy over on the Oklahoma side as well. But as you say, it's a gorgeous morning. Sun's out, comfortable temperatures. Looks like it's going to be a very nice afternoon as well. And speaking of, I'll have those taped interviews. Got some of them yesterday. Got Todd, Chad, and who else? Oh, Danny Gargan yesterday. Got Whit Beckman today with Anna Marie. We'll try to get a couple others later this afternoon. We'll plug those in tomorrow. But I do want to mention tomorrow, early start with the early post time here. We'll be in at 8 for the Handicappers Report. We'll kick off kind of an abbreviated Racing Across America at 9. So reset your schedules for the early start tomorrow morning, Travers morning.
Post time 12:35 today, early once again to get the 12 in on Travers Eve, but it's as good as it gets. I'll tell you, this is it. Boy, the humidity's got to be about 8%. It's beautiful out here. You're apparently on Twitter and everything. Your thoughts on the DQ, as you are one of the more casual leave up people?
I was surprised there was that much consternation. I thought the horse should have come down. I mean, had they left the horse up, it wouldn't have been crazy. I always waited, and I would have said for me it was, I don't know, 60-40, 70-30. I thought he came over and bothered the horse. I thought the one horse came over, the horse that got DQ'd came over and bothered the horse on the rail. I thought it was all right, but and I get the arguments people were making, but to me it was not a crazy call. But again, everybody has their own opinions, and they were expressing them yesterday. I was surprised because it seemed like most of the people expressing opinions thought the horse should have stayed up. So I was a little bit surprised.
To me, I think the central. There are no rules, I guess, and he can't. My only thought on it was, I think the lead horse should always have a half a path to their discretion. Not a full path. You can't go from the 2 and shut down the rail. He tended to take the half a path away. And I would have bet, but here's the other side to that. If I was the stewards, I would go into the jocks room and say, just so you know, when you head for home, you only get half a path to move your horse. If you take a whole path, you're coming down. But to the jockeys behind you, if you see the guy in front of you or the gal, and they're straightening out and they go left or right, half a path, I'm going to probably let it go. So make sure you see a whole path there, because the thing that I thought was, it seemed to be the moment at which you're straightening out.
Which is always a tough call.
Unless you tell people ahead of time.
Yeah.
When you straighten out, you get a moment to pick the lane you want. When you come off that apex of the turn, you got the centrifugal force pulling you out. I'll give you a stride or two to pick it out. And then when you get that, talk about the herders, they'd all be DQ'd in my world. It's like when you pick that path out, race to the line. But That's it. I don't know. I don't know. I was like you. I was surprised at the Twitter feed to it, which I'm okay with Twitter. I actually love Twitter, but seemed to be a little consternation with that. But it hurt some of us, But I think you still have a valid opinion. I think so. If you were a Stewart, you would have taken him down.
I would have, but as I say, 60-40, 70-30.
But you're usually a takedown when it's like 90-10, right? You're usually at 60-40. You want to leave things up usually, right? You're a lever up.
No. I go with whatever. If I'm 60-40 in favor of taking it down, then I'd take it down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not think it was. I'll put it this way. This is my thought. I've seen worse not even get inquiries.
Yeah, and as I said,
that's where we are.
Had they left it up, I wouldn't have been consternation on my part either. I wasn't like laying on it as a huge, strong DQ. And that's why I say I like to weight them a little bit, because I think that's the way it plays out. I think you can have an opinion, and it's not totally black or white a lot of the time.
So you would say there's no suspension forthcoming?
I don't know how they adjudicate those kind of things, so I can't say.
All right, then. Dylan Davis and Fuego. Just keep on keeping on. So, big plans tonight?
Well, I will say on our side of things tonight, there will be big things coming up, because we will have nighttime thoroughbred racing, obviously with Del Mar and whatnot. But tonight is also the big night at Charlestown. At Charlestown, they have the Charlestown Classic.
One of us on this set has been there.
and it wasn't me, although I have been to Albuquerque Downs, so I've been to some obscure. Albuquerque Downs is a scenic. There's that Sandia Mountain in the background. But Charlestown Classic goes off at about 10:20. Skippy Longstocking is in there for Safi Joseph. Field of 10 scheduled. It's also the Charlestown Oaks, number of other undercard stakes at Charlestown. So that's tonight. But this afternoon, the rescheduled King's Plate and the nice undercard of stakes up there, the Bold Venture, the King Edward, the Catch a Glimpse, all on the rescheduled card at Woodbine this afternoon.
How are those ticket holders doing?
So, yeah, well.
Has anybody talked? Why is it today? What, can 8 people go today? Is Steve Bick out there today?
I don't think he made the return trip.
Okay.
Because it's Travers weekend here. But yeah, it's the head scratching that they picked Friday as opposed. I mean, there may have been some big schedule. I didn't see the state schedule, but tomorrow. But why not Sunday? It was funny choice. But also, let me alert you that coming up at Capital OTB this afternoon, Players Bankroll. You get to make the picks. If you swing on down, Players Bankroll team gets selected, and I think each player gets a race at the end of the day. The money made split up between the team. That's this afternoon at the Clubhouse Racebook. Tomorrow it's the King of the Hill contest. Clubhouse Racebook. Have a little extra fun today and tomorrow down there, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Bounty Bet returns on Saturday tomorrow. The last pick 5 of the day will be the Bounty Bet. Play with your Capital OTB bet account. You get a shot at the bounty. Sunday, I'll try once again to knock it out of the park with the pick 3 bankroll. Entries will open up a little after noontime, I think, today. The entries will open up. They'll be open until about noontime on Sunday. Put your name in the hat, see if you can get on the pick 3 bankroll team. All of that coming up at Capital OTB. Coming up top of the hour. Should be fun. Have Joe Migliori coming up. I've known Joe since he was a kid in the Naira press box, but now he's off on his own. Bloodstock agent, jockey agent. He's working closely now with the Adelphi Racing Club. And speaking of the Adelphi Racing Club, Matt Kater will join us as well, who founded the Adelphi Racing Club. And on Sunday, they have the very talented New York bred Pandagate coming up. So that should be a lot of fun. In New York, it's one of the New York Showcase days coming up on Sunday. So we will also be joined by Najee Thompson. Naj heads up the New York Thoroughbred Breeders. So we'll talk a little bit about New York racing and their big day coming up on Sunday. And then I saw him over on the front side the other day. I said, we got to get you plugged in before you leave town. Our good friend Michael Blowen, founder of Old Friends in Kentucky. He'll stop by as well. So all of that coming up 10 o'clock, Racing Across America.
You know, when you were talking about the bet with the team and they select a race, I was thinking about years ago when about 7 or 8 of us get together at the track and we would do our show parlay. And, everybody was in every time. That wasn't the discussion part. The discussion part was there a particular race you wanted to go? And didn't you do a show pool for the people?
Yeah.
And I probably haven't said it in 2 years. Well, not first time this year. You might think it's easy, but just try it. Now, on the other side,
I can vouch for that.
Right. On the other side, one year, we did so well that it got to the last race, and I told the guys
check out or
cut it in half? Out. No, I was like, we'll just disperse it now. And there was a couple nay votes, and I said, listen, from a gambling aspect, I'm for it. I said, but you're not going to believe this. We are going to affect the odds. We are going to hurt ourselves here. And obviously with the show pool, typically there's not a lot of margin. Although Salvation paid about $8 to show the other day. Running second. And I made the point with the last 3 holdouts, and they're like, no, you made a good point, and we disbanded it. And you guessed it, we would have lost.
Yeah, nice.
But it was gigantic. But the real still part of the story is it sounds easy. It isn't.
Yeah, no, I say I can vouch for that when I was doing the show pool. But on the flip side, I had the 1 week where I think we started with 100. I'm pretty sure it was 100, and I got it up to over a couple thousand.
Yes.
There was no it was a crazy run. There was no price amongst the mix that I think that was less than $4, and there was a $6 one in there. And so you parlay those kind of price, you're doubling and then parlaying and doubling. It gets up there pretty nicely. So that was a fun day. But yeah, it's tough.
To me,
if you get it right, it's fun. But
oh yes, I mean, I think in years of doing it, we only hit it 3 times, and it was a winner.
Yeah, and
it's an offshoot of the old idea that Ben Franklin said about money and everything. The 2 most important words in finance are compound interest. It's a little different, but you get the idea of the parlay. Like you said, you get one of those doubles, you're like 440.
Yeah,
it's like holy cow, etc. So, but try it sometime. But when you said the team aspect and you select a race, that's all I could think about. What I'm going to think about up next on this beautiful Friday morning is the DePaula Chevrolet Play of the Day.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hello, everybody. Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, here with the DePaula Play of the Day from beautiful Saratoga Race Course. We've been giving you our plays of the day on Fridays and Saturdays throughout the meet, and we've been basing our success on a 50 to win, 30 to place, 20 to show wager. And after showing a flat bet profit in our first 2 years in doing this, we're at it once again, as after 11 selections, we have 4 wins, 5 placings, and 2 showings, while maintaining a 35% profit for the bankroll team. As for today, this is a card that we felt the least confident in selecting our play of the day for the entire meet. A lot of competitive races out there, a lot of good stuff, as they say. So caveat emptor right off the bat. That being said, we'll side with the number 2, Spun Candy. This late foal from Dally Stewart's barn showed marked improvement second time out when overcoming the greenness in her debut down in Kentucky and closing out the triple at 12-1 odds, while also improving in the buyer speed figure department by approximately 38.2%, give or take. Saez has really turned the corner after a horrific start, or is it an horrific start, early on in the meet, as he's looked good out there the last 2 weeks. He sends horses that need to be sent, and the clock in his head has gotten much better. He retains the mount this afternoon. From a DRF formulator point of view, The aforementioned shot caller is 5 of 10 with maiden special weight dirt dashers who hit the board 16 to 50 days ago at these odds, give or take, and are not in receipt of the wonder drug. He has a positive ROI in that study as well. The break will be very important from today's inside-ish post position, given the speed shown last time out. So therefore, we're going to make today's DePaula play of the day for Capital OTB at Saratoga during a hailstorm, race number 1, number 2, Spun Candy. Have a fantastic day out there, and we'll see you at the races.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, if you have some free time today is a day you want to come up and spend a few hours and bet horses, because it is beautiful and the turf should be getting firmer and go in the right direction for the big day tomorrow.
I made my first stop at Ciro's yesterday. Hard to believe this deep into the meet, but I walked through and I didn't know anybody, so I left. And that's why I haven't been over there that much. It's fun if you can sit there and have a beer or two with somebody you know. And I don't know if anybody I know spends much time over there. There was a good crowd. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I may have. It may be out of my wheelhouse now. I'll go back again next week. I'll try it again.
Make new friends. Friends.
You're right. I should have made new friends.
Surprised they didn't hear, hey, Seth.
No, I got some of that.
Yeah,
I did get
stop and have a beer. You ready for the 12?
Yeah.
3, 6, and 9 for breaks. Boy, this is going to – you get through these 26 races, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a triumph unto itself. The opener, Open Company, 2-year-old fillies, maiden special weights, going 6.
For me, 4, 1, 8, and 6. I'll put Ice Cream Boat on top. We had this one in the mix a few days ago, scratched out. But by Outwork's pretty good with first-time starters. 44 this year, 6 wins, 9 seconds. So over 33% in the exact. Sibling Chocolate Gelato, third in debut, and then won the next couple of starts. It's Pletcher and Rapoli. Steady string of workouts. A couple of them look pretty good. I think this horse will be live. Alieska in the second spot for me. Norm Cassie, trainee from the Mary Lou Whitney stable. So sentimental choice there with the passing of John Hendricks just within the last week or so. But by Vekoma, alone racing sibling, Empire Island, won the only start of the career for the same team. So I think this one is live in debut as well. And Stunner goes out for Brad Cox. The lone sibling was a full sibling and was 9th in the only career start, but I did have Brad in here. Was it just yesterday? Man, they all run together. But I talked about Stunner and asked him about Stunner, and he thought the horse was going to be live in debut. So that one's in my mix as well. 4, 1, 8, 6.
I had wondered when these entries had come out and John passed away, if they were going to scratch out. Sometimes in these times of mourning or something, the barns will not run their horses. But as there's so much guesswork for me, no one calls me anymore. I just was thinking, Seth, that with Brad Cox and something that he's really amping up at the backside of the meet. And I think the bettors are on. The 59 breezing at Churchill Downs. I don't talk about workouts very often, but that seems like a phenomenal work. I mean, if it's true, but this is the hard part. When Seth and I were young, you never see Handley anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody's always breezing. When we were younger, there was Handley, which meant they were kind of more focused on the work. And I think, honestly, there was more Handley workouts than breezing workouts.
And then the weird part also was it was completely different in California.
Oh, they were always breezing?
No, they meant the different. The definitions were different.
Oh, well, that
it was
can't happen.
Weird.
You can't have that. So I just think on the guesswork that Brad Cox, and we remember Gervin got off to a hot start as a stallion, but the workouts are just zingers. I have Hey Everybody, Todd Pletcher's runner, a Matoli with bullets, and then Complex Secret at a big price in here. But what an opener.
In the, I will remind you because I just scrolled through, and if I'm looking off screen a lot of times, I'm checking stuff on my computer. So apologies for it. That's not polite TV, but I wanted to look it up because at the top of the show I meant to mention there is a cross-country pick 5 today. It'll be 3 Woodbine races, a Monmouth race, and a Saratoga race. Starts race 8 at Woodbine, goes to race 8 at Monmouth, then the King's Plate at Woodbine, then here at Saratoga for the personal ensign, and it wraps up with the Catch a Glimpse. So there is a kind of a fun special cross-countries pick 5 today available. Woodbine, Monmouth,
The
and
North America
Saratoga.
pick 5.
Exactly. Across North America. All right, race number 2 this afternoon. Starter allowance. They'll come on at the chute at a mile.
238 for me. Inside Princess Becca making the 4th career start. Second time versus winners. Won the seasonal debut. No surprise for me, at least. After that, a regression, which is usually not good when you're running against toughers. But now we're into that 3rd race cycle, and we're at a good price. For second, right next door, Just Music, going out for Linda Rice, ran very well at this level. And then Dazzy going out for Tim Hills. Sharp 2 races back, going the mile at Laurel, which is the 1-turn mile. So 238 in the second.
3, 5, 4, and 2. I'd put Just Music on top. We've been talking about the post positions out of the mile chute, and post number 3 has the most wins, 10 wins coming out of the chute this season. So it will depend on scratches amongst the 2 inner horses. But if we hold up post 3, that's a notable. So I'll put that one on top. Second spot, Punch the Clock. I like the horse before the post position. Let me say that. It's not just the post position, but you add that in as a bonus. Punch the Clock, a couple of starts so far for Joe Sharp. The debut effort was a nice win, claimed out of that, and then went into an allowance event. I think is going to benefit from the first 2, first off the claim and experience against limited winners. I'll put Punch the Clock in the mix, and then in the 3rd spot, Elliptic comes in off a nice try on the move up to Saratoga last time for Bill Morey, and I think is a player this afternoon in the second. 3, 5, 4, and 2.
And one thing, when you watch the head-on, just anecdotally observation, you watch the jockeys, and the jockeys seem, I think are giving you the message that they have a path that they would like to take. And I'm talking about with these outside horses, that they don't want to be hung out there when they get to the apex of this turn. So I think there's something to it. And they on the outside have to use early energy to take what I think is, easily, definable as the preferred route. Shorter distance. Sometimes down inside is deep and tiring, but geometry usually works. 3rd race, 11 furlongs on the inner.
1, 8, 6, and 4. I'll put Be Like Clint on top. Nice 3rd place finish on the move up to Saratoga last time. With a number that was consistent with the prior numbers, just tosses pretty consistent efforts in regularly. And I think given what we've seen over the last few starts, particularly that last run on the move to Saratoga, and then you get Irod Ortiz on board today, I think it all adds up to think Be Like Clint is logical. 2nd spot, Harry Hood. Ran 5th in that same race that Be Like Clint was 3rd in last time. But again, you look down the page, the race 2 back, no, but that one has the look of an aberration to me. The race 3 back, the number was a little light, but that was the Man of War. I think if you look down the page and you look at the last race, this horse fits in with this bunch. Breeze in the 3rd spot, Shug McGahee trainee, coming off a nice try on July 4th downstate. That was the best yet, and it maybe has the look of one of those light bulb moment kind of races, but it is enough of an aberration that we'll see. We'll learn more about this horse today. Was that a light bulb moment, or was that an aberration? I'm kind of, in career start number 8, going to go with light bulb moment until we are proven wrong right or wrong this afternoon. So I'll put that one in the mix. I have it 1, 8, 6, and 4.
You know, there's 8 horses in the main body, Seth, and I have 6 of them live, and that is the case for me, where, you know, Seth's trifecta are 3 major players here. I just wanted a 6-to-1 shot because I think, you know, do I have to run a little faster? I mean, maybe, but I do think this distance is going to come into question. And I'm 4-8-1. Dylan Davis coming off of the victory on this horse. We take on winners for the first time. It's a very competitive race. I have 75% of the field in contention for the win slot. So I want the 6-to-1 shot in here, who I think on balance is, you know, I guess maybe 2 lengths slower, but now jumps into allowance. But we're going to get a better price, and we're going to get an Enfuego jockey, Harry Hood, for second. Mark Henning, his runner. I have, you know, he's on the outside. I talked about this the other day. I do think post positions matter, even in these long 3-turn races. And then be like Clint. I have the 2. And, you know, the morning line odds with David, I agree. I think the 3 and the 7 are the outsiders, but the other 6 are in it to win it. 4-8-1.
You mentioned Dylan Davis on Fuego. He is on fire. Certainly 2 more yesterday, but 2 favorites. Come on, Dylan. What's going on there?
Well, one of them was mine, but and I agree with that. But here's one of the things about watching races. And when you're on the favorite, you know, I add the mix that, you know, you're the best athlete in the race, you know, to a lot of people, and maybe you have a skill set that's a little better. But the ride he gave on the turf, the patience he said, didn't use the energy of the horse, and then at a brief moment when a slot opened up between the hedge horse and the other horse, it was a slot, his horse exploded because he had patiently waited, didn't use any energy at all, and it wasn't on the turn, and it was so smart, and the horse literally opened up 3 lengths in about 1/8 of a mile.
Yeah, that's what he's been doing. He's been,
and that's the part where I
right
talk
spots.
about as an athlete, whether you're a tennis player, a golfer, quarterback, there are indefinable moments when you're in a zone.
Yeah.
You just see things correctly. Public handicappers too. And then there's the flip side, which makes you wonder what you've been doing for 40 years. But, you know, I'm just watching. I'll give you another one. And I know the horse was 1-20. So you're thinking, what can you possibly say? The horse was, yes, he was King Kong. But go back and watch the opener 2 days ago when there was a brief moment. Was it Proactive? Was that the name?
Protective.
Protective. Right? Brief moment. And it maybe wouldn't have mattered in the long run when it was in the booby trap seat into the first turn. And the jock's like, oh, no, I'm not playing this game. And made a quick spurt to just get daylight. And it made the rest of the race and his thought process much simpler. Instead of being like early in the race, not dozing off, but being like, I got this. But he was dialed in, and he saw a little bit of, oh, this could be a problem. It might take me 6 furlongs to get out of this. But really 3 strides got him out of it. Well, it could have been a 6 furlong bottleneck. And then, you know, he basically ended the race within the first 150 yards, and he's 1-20. And I was like, well, if you have this runner, you can breathe easily.
Yeah, experience counts.
It does.
All right, dark horse play of the day today is in race number 7. I'm going to go with the 5, Tis Her Money. Tis the Law is doing okay with first-time starters. Not knocking out of the park, but overall, 23 first-time starters, only a couple of wins, but 6 seconds and 4 thirds. So 50% in the money. We're looking at about 33% in the exacta. So I think those are pretty good numbers for Tis the Law. There's a sibling, Dan produced a sibling called Boardroom, won the debut in 3 of the first 4. So I thought there was win early, top and bottom. And you add in Mark Cassie, who you speak about red hot at the meet. He's just been having a fabulous meet. I thought it all added up. Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
But it all added up. Some win early top and bottom. Marquesi's going very well. I thought the workouts, the latest workout I thought was solid to base on tilting in this direction at a solid 10-1. All of that said, it's a race with others in here who are intriguing, certainly, and from some potent connections and whatnot. But I don't think this is one of those necessarily world beater type of jumping off the page debut races at Saratoga. So I'll go with Tis Her Money in the seventh race, the Dark Horse Play of the Day. Race number 7, horse number 5, Tis Her Money, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both in downtown, right on Broadway, across the street from each other, and maybe 2 blocks away. So if you're in downtown Saratoga, stop by, say hello, browse, and enjoy. And thanks to the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions for sponsoring the Dark Horse Play of the Day.
All right, when we come back, 9 more.
In 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on the day before. It's Friday here on Travers Weekend. 12 race card today, 14 tomorrow. And don't forget, we mentioned it earlier, there is the early post time today of 12:35. So mark that down as well. All right, 4th race today, optional claimer with the C condition. They come out of the chute at a mile.
Another very competitive race, in my opinion. So I'm 5-3-1. I have 5 or 6 live in here, and so I just wanted a price horse that I think is competitive with these. And also, as I've mentioned before, the layoffs, etc. I do not think about them very much. I have to hope, though, that for Untreated, it was just practice coming back to the races on opening day. There was not much of a race put in by my top pick. So this is a big reach for me. For second, Castle Chaos, love Chaos. 3rd start in a cycle. This horse is newfound level, and Rob Falcone quietly with limited starters having a great meet.
Yeah.
He and Ray Handle just off the handle,
Yep.
with their meet. And then for 3rd, Rocket Can from the inside for Bill Bott. Probably the major player in here. 5-3-1.
It's the morning line favorite, but I put Rocket Can down in the 3rd spot. I'm not. You
That's
kind of alluded
allowed.
to it. I thought it was, a bunch where you could kind of shop around a little
1, 2,
bit.
3, 4, 7.
Yeah,
To me, are all live.
and I went 4-3-1 and 2. Power Seeker on top, who comes off a nice win up here for Linda Rice. Maybe against on the condition in the condition book. Maybe a little bit less, but I think it was a good win, and I think it showed an affinity for the track, perhaps. And so at a little bit of a price, we'll put Power Seeker on top. 2nd spot, Castle Chaos. 3rd start up here. I was going to say at the meet, but up here this season because the first race was back in June during that Belmont at Saratoga. Short meet, and it was also in the Met Mile. So ran 4th in the Met Mile, came back last time in a similar event and ran 3rd I think is well spotted to be in the mix today. And then Rocket Can, who again is the morning line choice, the morning line favorite, but I don't think any stand out necessarily. I do think on a best effort is right in the thick of things, and certainly has a little back class. Last year they tried the Kentucky Derby, but after the Kentucky Derby they were off for 8-9 months, and then came back with a nice win down at Oaklawn, and then followed that up last time here at Saratoga with a little bit of a lesser performance as the beaten favorite, but as a favorite at 7-2, so was not taking overwhelming money in that last one. So again, I get it. I'm going to be interested to see, however, where the betting public does wind up in this race and what Rocket Can takes, because I think it's one where you can point to 2 or 3 in here that are equally as talented. 4, 3, 1, and 2 for me.
On to the 5th, one of the stakes races today, a turf sprint, the Smart and Fancy, and Teresa and Dave have reported that Don't Look Back at All will run in the Kentucky Downs Ladies Turf Sprint. So, and that's from Christophe Clement, so you can very much believe that. And the fact that he also has Roses for Deborah still in makes it even more so that he wouldn't run 2 light horses together and go for the big person. I think it's August 31st is the race.
Bick tweeted out that Money's Gold will take the option of the other slot.
Now, here's the question with Money's Gold. Was this an entry for the Off the Turf to run for $150,000 purse where you might be King Kong?
Yeah. That certainly is a legitimate question to ask, since there's no turf on the resume, but they'll let you go. And again, those aren't official scratches, but it sounds like they're pretty good from the sources. I had it 4, 7, 6, and 1. 6 and 1 look like they're out now, but Roses for Deborah does look like the 100-pound gorilla and 1,000-pound gorilla in here. Comes off a couple of
for whatever reason, I think it's the 800-pound gorilla.
I think you're right.
I don't know how they came up with 8. That's rare, but maybe the average weight of a gorilla is 800 pounds.
I think you're right. Well, I don't know what.
Well, why would you go
Why would you pick 8? Why would you?
It's a rare number.
Yeah. Favorite 2 back 1 down at Keeneland, and then was favored last time overwhelmingly and ran a close-up second here at Saratoga, that Belmont meet. The winner that day is back as well. Future Is Now, and I put that one right underneath. I'm going to look for them to switch up subsequent to that win in the Intercontinental. Future Is Now ran 3rd last time right up here during this meet. Roses for Deborah has not been seen since that second. I'm going to look for them to flip-flop it. And I often say we try to get clever sometimes, and they come right back in the same situation. And being outside Futures now maybe has the tactical advantage. But I'll look for Roses to Deborah to get back into the winner's circle and rebound. 4 and 7. 4, 7, 6 and 1. But again, 6 and 1 likely to come out. 4 and 7 for me.
The driving reason for me trying to get clever and inverting past results is usually the price is going my way. Like Roses for Deborah is probably not going to be, as short a price as she was last. And one thing I like with Roses for Deborah, Christophe doesn't have my phone number, but you're thinking, I like the layoff here.
Yeah.
Because there's probably a few more big races in the tank to go. So the 7 weeks or whatever the math is, I'm good. I expect Roses for Deborah to be extremely sharp. And I've said it before, the next start might be around Halloween after today. So Roses for Deborah, I think and it's a tougher race, but I think she's the goods in here. Star guest. I like the American race for the offspring of Debawi. And then I just took an absolute bomb in here trying to light up my try with Glitter Up. But it's a very good race. But I think Roses for Deborah is going to be heck to pay.
In race number 6 this afternoon, we're looking at New York bred maiden claimers, $30,000 tags. They will travel 7 furlongs.
And the favorite here is a first-time tag. It's a popular angle. And really this gets back to what has been my focus, Seth, for many years now, but I probably didn't start talking about it, but it's that buyer par who could maybe achieve it and win as a strong focus in these particular types of races where I think maybe a 50 could win it or would make you competitive. And if, there's a chance that a horse at a price, you got to believe it. I'm 256. I just, Inflammable, to me, is a horse who could run a 50, where a 57, a 58, and, could win the race as an outsider. The recent form doesn't indicate it, but the second career start might have been good enough. If we can find that number again, for second, I have Focus Pocus, who has, run some 60s, which would be good enough to win here. I completely, I'm for that. And they're running for a tag. So there's a lot to like with them, but not enough for me to put in the win spot. And then going for Glory, who, for David Donk, who seems to have, turned up the heat on the stove. So 256.
I'm 10, 5, 6, and 9. I put Sendera on top. I thought the Linda Rice trainee the past couple of starts was okay. Makes a turf to dirt move with a cutback, a couple angles, I think, adds some intrigue as well. Get 5-1 on the morning line. I'm interested to see. Being that there are some horses here that are going maiden special weight to maiden claiming, notably Focus Pocus. That one may take some action. The Chad Klarovich runner hasn't shown much yet, but I wonder just with that team if that horse will take a little more action than the morning line indicates. So, again, I think we'll get a little value on a horse that I think absolutely fits class-wise, has done very well in similar races recently. And so I'll put that one on top. Focus Pocus makes sense. Again, made special weight to maiden claiming. And there are those back numbers that are absolutely solid. And going for Glory from David Donk, as you said, interesting as well. Off the recent series of improving numbers, which I always think have horses primed to maybe continue that. And a continuation of that absolutely makes that one a player, again, on the numbers and what is likely to get it done in this race. I have a 10, 5, 6, and 9.
And one of my favorite parts, when we come back, race 7, and the pick 6 will commence.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back. Race number 7, kicking off the pick 6. And if you're old enough, it used to be the second to last leg of the pick 6 when it used to be races 3 through 8. 2-year-old fillies, open company, mile 16th on the turf.
5, 10, 8, 9. Mentioned this one earlier. My dark horse play of the day. Tis Her Money.
We have 7 different horses.
That's wild. Tis the law, as I mentioned earlier. Not knocking out of the park with first-time starters, but doing okay. With seconds and thirds that are saying these horses are running well in their debut. Dan produced a win early type, horse that won the debut in 3 out of the first 4. Mark Cassie going well. I think this horse is very intriguing in here today. So number 5, Tis Her Money on top. Second slot, Leaner and Meaner. Chad Brown and Klarovich. Munnings on top. Munnings very good with first-time starters. First-time starters 75 this year. 24 of those have hit the exacta, so about 33% first or second with firsters from the sire, and Chad and Klarovich always have to be paid attention to here at Saratoga with debut runners. And then Rare Act, experience counts, and the Tony Duthrow runner by Munnings has some experience under the belt already. A nice little third in a similar event. There was a sibling called Integrated Design that won in the second start of the career. Maybe this one lives up to that older sibling. I also thought with experience, the Cherie DeVoe runner, Good Conduct, could be worth taking a look at. But I have it 5, 10, 8, and 9.
173 for me. American Justice on top of the inside, an offspring of Justify. And, he's just turned out to be a very, very good stallion. In case, if you don't follow European racing, City of Troy, who stubbed his toe in May, but since then has been lights out, is an offspring of Justify across the pond. Look up. It's so easy these days. Remember the old days, 15 years ago, you couldn't get it. But just look at his Juddmonte International.
He's just galloping along.
Like, get out of the way.
But then the top of the stretch, it looks like maybe they're going to swallow him up. And they're like, no.
So I'm just, Brittany Russell's sharp trainer. So American Justice, we might get a price on here. Pookie, first time starter from Tom Morley. A Warfront's a son of Danzig. I'll take a big price there. And Our Prosperity, Todd Pletcher at 15-1. Very intrigued on how the betting plays out here, because maybe there's words out and the board will indicate it, but 173 kicking off the pick 6.
And I was overdoing the Steve Bick radio show on Wednesday, and Dick Powell was there too. And by that time, the Juddmonte had been run. Dick was saying, don't forget, that's also against older. By this time of the year over there, you got a good 3-year-old.
Well, that's what I love about the King George. And I almost consider it the greatest race in the world, because that's usually the first time the 3-year-olds go 12 furlongs against the oldest.
Him doing
he was great.
Like that. Oh, yeah.
Offspring of Justify.
8, are we break or are we going to the 8th?
We do the 8th.
We do the 8th. So I will tee up the 8th with mentioning that this is a $50,000 conditional claimer, non-winners to 2 lifetime, 8.5 furlongs on the grass.
Wide open to me, 219 Union Express. John Toscano, I draw a good post position in here. I think I'm going to get it's hard to imagine. I'm foreseeing a very attractive trip. Whether or not we're good enough at double digits to get home, that I cannot speak to at 9:47 in the morning. Billy's got issues for second. Ray Handels had a fantastic meet from the beginning. And then Kick a Buck, first off the claim for Linda Rice. We're on the outside, and I think the dangers are on the inside in a wide open race. But 219.
12, 9, 8, and 2. And I have to admit, I am very concerned about the post position, but it's a Chad Klarovich runner dropping in for a tag. Those usually seem to be horses that are kind of well meant, because, I've said before, these connections have expensive horses ready to fill stalls, and if one doesn't quite live up to the program, they're ready to move on, and they usually run pretty well, and somebody jumps in and maybe picks them up. So again, I think this horse is intriguing, is legit, but the post position to me was a big concern. So we'll see. I Rod Ortiz on board. Hopefully he gets some position going into the first turn. Kick a Buck in the second spot. Linda Rice trainee off the claim, and I think the race this horse was claimed out of was a pretty nice win, but you mentioned it quite a bit. You don't want to you don't want to claim a horse out of a maiden race, then see the horse win. That was the situation here. But we go to a 50 N2L. I mean, this isn't a field of world beaters by any means. And then in the third spot, Dissolve, another one making a class move that I think will be beneficial this afternoon. In the 8th, 12, 9, 8, and 2.
Just thinking about this, I know we're tight on time, but I have determined in my own mind without talking to any trainer, that has to be a disaster.
Yeah.
An absolute disaster. One more before the break. Entry-level allowance going 6th in race number 9.
3, 6, 8, and 4. 4 City on top for Bill Mott. Irod Ortiz hops on board. Seasonal debut I thought was good. One to build on. There are back numbers that are very good. I'll put that one on top. And again, get 6-1 on the morning line. I think that's generous. Mariachi in the second spot. John Kimmel trainee has some nice positional early speed. Third start back of the season, could be primed for a nice effort off 2 improving numbers to start things out this year. And then Edified in the third spot for Steve Asmussen. Third start back for this one off 2 improving numbers. And again, could be primed to move forward. And that's going to make that one dangerous. 3, 6, 8, and 4.
I called Seth the other day with a soda question. And he told me the pick 5 paid $55. I can tell you if the pick 5s pay about $60 today, Seth, I'm doomed because I have 864. I think this is a wide open day. Edified by top pick coming off of a brilliant third place performance most recently. This is the third start of the year. That race, could be a baby Yoda. I don't know because I have to be around there to win, but I'm also going to be a double-digit mutual. John Kimmel sends out the 6 in here, and John's had, a good meet, limited runners, but we've been on board. Big City intrigues me, making the second start versus winners with Joel. So 864 as we head to our final break before we come back with the personal ensign.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. The highlight for today, day before the Travers, but a pretty nice kickoff to the weekend with the personal ensign. Grade 1 event, $500,000, 9 furlongs for the fillies and mares. And it's a short 5-horse field, but idiomatic and randomized.
Championship race.
Make this very special. Your thoughts?
Now, here's a quick question. Who rode persistently when she beat Rachel Alexander in her last start?
No idea.
I'll give you a moment. You won't need it. You won't need it.
I'm not.
3, 4, 5 for me. Listen. I'm just taking a shot here. My rule of thumb with runners is they only have so many bullets. I thought of that with Petruska a couple of years ago. Latruska. There's only so many bullets. She won like 5 of the winning you're in. And Idiomatic and Randomized, there they are. They're right there. I just took Raging Sea for a huge upset in here. They happen in horse racing, by the way, folks. Idiomatic, I have turning the tables on Randomized after their brilliant showdown in the Ogden Phipps. Well, Idiomatic was 1-10 and Randomized was 6-1. You're not having that today.
Those two, to me, are right there. I tilt slightly towards Idiomatic. She had to work, obviously, last time, and Soul of an Angel is back in here. She just nipped down the Molly pitcher. I think if I was looking for the upset, that would be the one. Now, both of these have early speed. Potentially, they go out and knock each other out. And to me, Soul of the Angel would be the alternative, but I don't see any reason that Raging Sea couldn't also play into if it fell apart a little bit. And that, I think, in a field like this is maybe kind of possible. So we'll see how it plays out. But I put Idiomatic on top, 4, 5, and 2.
Alan Garcia. State bred, sprinting 5.5 in the 11.
A name I haven't heard in a while. 5, 8, 11, and 10. Delightful Dixie on top for me. Nice maiden breaker, 3 back. Nice follow-up against conditional claimers. then came up here back to New York. Those were down in Monmouth. Then came to New York to face Stakebreads last time, and kind of faltered for my man Mike Dean. You talked to him in the paddock yesterday. But I'm going to give this one another chance. I think this horse might be better than we saw last time based on the 2 races down at Monmouth. So I'll take this one on top. We're going to get a little bit of a price. And as I say, I think the last one may not be totally indicative of the talent. That's what I'm hoping. Linerite in the second spot comes in for Dave Donk off a series of pretty nice races, competitive races in and around this level, and should be a player again. And Aunt Yola towards the outside, broke the maiden last time, did it in a fashion that says maybe this horse is moving forward, maybe appreciates the grass. So 5, 8, 11, and 10.
If you see short prices today, I am doomed. I am 9, 5, 6 here. Mr. Bond adds blinkers to my top pick. Delightful Dixie, I think, with Mike Deeney, without the Mike Deeney angle for me, is a major player in here. So 9, 5, 6.
12th and final today. It's going to go off about 10 minutes to 7. Maiden specials going a mile on the grass.
Second time this week, Seth. My favorite races on about at least 6 cards so far this year have been the last race. I am 4-1-3 here. Seth has my 4 in his second slot. Strife is a major thought of the second half of the meet for me. Yes, you have to get over the hurdles of 3 second-place finishes. I think we do that today. Part of the entry, the other part, not the part that Seth has, Time Stone for me, making the first start since the Ides of March, and then Dazzling Cruiser for Bill Mott. I think a terrific walkout race, 4-1-3.
3 of my 4, and where's the other one? 3 of my 4 are kind of stuck in that bridesmaid situation. I have it 2, 4, the 1A, and 6. The 2 also for Chad and Juddmonte has been stuck in second for the last few starts. I'm hoping for the breakthrough today. Strife, as you mentioned, has been right there, and we'll be right there again today. Interesting to see who finally breaks through. And then in the third slot, I'm going to go out to the 1A, Pisciata. If that one's first on the AE list, so it just needs 1 to scratch to get in. But I think if this one does get in, take an extra look in the 12th and final, 2, 4, 1A, and 6.
It's a beautiful day, ladies and gentlemen. Come on up, enjoy the racing. 12 races. Post time is 12:35. He stays, I go. We'll see you back here at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.